Hey guys, so I'm actually about to get ready for my micro lab. Excuse me. But I thought I'd check in and say hi. Yeah, I think I might like film getting ready right now. But yeah, so I took my nursing exam yesterday, did really great on it. I was really proud of myself. And I had a really productive day yesterday. Like you know, got to class, took my exam, and then after that, we had a micro like review thing for our exam that we have tomorrow. But to be honest, I was like, I know that nothing useful is gonna come from it, and I was right. Like, I guess my friend who went to it, she was like, yeah, we showed up for like 5 minutes, and the professor was like, yeah, I fell asleep last night and I forgot to finish making the review. So yeah, I'll just post that on Blackboard later, and like it was like 5 minutes long. So I skipped because I went to the math lab because I have a stats exam on Friday, so I'm just like trying to like be ahead of the game and like make sure that I understand stuff for stats because I have to do well on the exam, right? So I did that, and then after that I went to my actual stats class, which is usually at like 12:15, and then after stats I was talking with my friends for a little bit, and then I went to registrar to like try to figure out, because we scheduled this week for fall semester, so I was like trying to figure out some stuff for my schedule. And then after that I went to my voice lesson because I have like a talent scholarship, so I have to take voice lessons. And then after that, then I went to tutoring for micro for an hour, and that's another reason why I skipped micro review, is because I knew I was going to meet with my tutor yesterday. So I went through all the chapters and like all the vocab with her for like an hour. Did that, and then after that I went to like the Center for Student Success, which is where I actually figured out my schedule, and I spent like an hour there. But I'm glad I did, because I figured out my whole schedule. And then as I was driving home, my car was being weird, so then luckily my parents had gotten home like just a few minutes after I got home, and my dad and I went to the mechanic, and I got like my oil changed and whatever, and hopefully my car is fine now. But yeah, it was kind of scary. My wheels like shaking. I was like, oh my god, like I like turned on my hazards on the highway. It was scary. Like I was like, oh my god, am I gonna die? But yeah, that's how my day's been so far. This week in lab we are going to learn catheterization, and so I guess I will show you guys that, not in lab, because I don't know, I feel kind of weird about, like, I haven't told any of my friends that I'm doing this, so I don't know, it's kind of just like right now like my little secret. But I will obviously go into lab to practice, and so I'll probably like prop the phone up on something, and like, I don't know, maybe time lapse me practicing, if that would be cool. I think it'd be cool. So then yeah, I'll do that, and yeah, so I will see you when I see you next time. Okay, so I had started getting ready and it was like 8:24, and it's now 8:49. This is kind of like my go-to fast, I just need to look glam, whatever. It's just like my everyday makeup look. But yeah, I gotta go now because I'm late, so I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, so it's now like 10:30. Our lab was super duper pointless. We showed up, the professor, he like went over, this is the same professor that I told you that he slept in yesterday, and anyways, yeah, so we showed up and we just like wrote down our thesis, whatever. It was like one sentence he wanted, and just wrote that on a note card, turned that in, and then he like went over these packets, which they have the answer keys online, and that was lab. So I'm leaving now, it's fine. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna work on my nursing process paper, which is due tomorrow morning, but I just want to get it done now, like as quickly as I hopefully can, and then I'm gonna go see The Greatest Showman for the 5th time, by the way. I'm obsessed. I love it with all of my heart. So I am going to try to get my process paper done before 1:30, because that's when the showing is, and then after the movie I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna just try to like get ahead of some other assignments and whatever. I was gonna give you guys a tour of the nursing lab, but I like peeked in and they were there was like an actual lab going on, so afterwards. But for sure I'm going to show you guys the catheterization insertion process like after I learn it. And obviously it's like do it, you know, per your institution requirements and how they teach you to do it, but I just thought it'd be kind of cool and interesting to show you guys how we're supposed to do it. And I mean, it can't change that much, you know, like, but you know what I mean, like it can always be slightly different. So I'm gonna head home now and just, yeah, let's boogie. Hey guys, so I'm just gonna get straight to it. We're gonna be talking about poop and dealing with it and my first experience with it. So, I mean, I know that there's like all of HIPAA and everything, so I'm not gonna get like too into it, but I had my first experience with it recently, and it was, I have two younger brothers, and so, you know, I've had to change many diapers throughout my lifetime. They're older now, but you know, when they were younger and not potty trained, I got a lot of that work handed to me. So yeah, a lot of times patients will have to undergo an emptying out of their like colon, let's say like bowel prep for a procedure. And so, you know, in doing so, it will cause diarrhea because that's just, you know, you want to empty that out. I don't know if it's just me and because I've had the experience with being used to dealing with poop, but I will say that it was pretty funny because me personally, I almost got it all over me because I was standing in the wrong place at the wrong time, but luckily I had a friend who she was like, hey, you should probably move over. And thankfully she told me that, otherwise that would have been a horrible way to end clinical. But you think that the smell is gonna be a lot worse than it is. And don't get me wrong, it does not smell like roses. It does not smell like roses. But the thing is, I just think of it like this. It sucks, right? To be that patient in that situation where it's embarrassing, you know? Like, I don't know about you guys, but like when I'm in public, let's get TMI here. We're all nurses in training here, right? I don't even like going number 2 in public, right? So like, let alone having to go in front of multiple people. You just kind of gotta remember that, yeah, sure, it's dealing with poop. I would rather not, but at the same time, like, I just tell myself if I were that patient, one, I'd be so embarrassed. I think that telling yourself, like, putting yourself into the patient's shoes, it helps you empathize a lot more, obviously, so that maybe you're not as grossed out by it. It's still gross, but you know, we all do it, and it's just one of those things, you know, where it happens and you're gonna see it a lot in nursing, and you just kind of gotta get used to it. And I don't know if anyone fully does. Like, I know that people say that they do, but like I don't know that anyone truly ever does. But it's just, if you remember that to put yourself in the patient's shoes and try to empathize with them like that, it becomes not as bad. I remember saying, don't worry about it. This is what we wanted to happen, you know, we want to empty everything out. Just kind of reassuring patients that this is what you want to happen. You know, if you are having a procedure, and you just gotta kind of remind patients and be like, hey, you know, this is exactly what we want to happen, and don't worry about it. Just kind of reassure them because it is embarrassing. And then cleaning them up, that's why we have gloves literally everywhere. And if it ends up getting anywhere in the room, we have the housekeeping to come help us out. So it's just one of those things where you're gonna experience it at some point, and the first time I don't know, I don't know how, maybe like I said, because I've had that exposure before, like my little brother is like, if you've ever experienced having to change a blowout, and if you don't know what that is, don't look it up, but I'll just kind of tell you, it's kind of like when they poop and it just kind of like blows out and it's like all the way up their back, and like it's just gross. So I've had that experience, and it's been years because they're older now, but it's still in my memory, and I don't think it'll ever go away. But it's just very interesting the way that I approach it. At least I approach it from an empathetic point of view. I know I'm probably like a broken record at this point, being super redundant, but yeah, like truly I think that is the best way to, and the smell, obviously, like there's a smell, like I said, it doesn't smell like roses, but I just think that because if you think about it, like when you poop, there's a smell too, and I don't know, it's for some reason it's like easier to tolerate your own smell. But if you just kind of tell yourself there's a bad smell and we're just gonna have to deal with it, and I've heard a few like tricks where it's like Vaseline, like not Vaseline, sorry, Vicks, like on your nose. But if it just happens and you didn't have time to prep for that, you just gotta kind of put on your best poker face, and you just gotta do it, and you just gotta help the patient out, because that's what you're there for. And you gotta keep that dignity, because that is a very embarrassing moment. So I guess the biggest things that I would say to keep in mind for whenever you experience your first encounter with poop and patient is put yourself in their shoes. Remember to keep their dignity. Reassure them that this is fine, this is normal, this is what we want to happen. Maybe not in, and obviously you wouldn't say this to them, but you know what I mean? Like maybe not in the way that it could happen. Like, it could be that, I don't know, it could get all over the place. You know what I mean? Like obviously ideally that wouldn't happen. But if it does, like you reassure them and be like, you know what, it's no problem. Like don't even worry about it. We have housekeeping. We'll get it all fixed, Just reassurance of the patient. And like I said, and the smell, you gotta put your best poker face on. There's no other way to put it. Like you just gotta kind of suck it up in a way. I wouldn't like actually try to like suck out the smell, but it's funny because you actually kind of get used to it. At least I did. I don't know. And I'm kind of sensitive to smells at times. But it's funny because I was talking to my friends about it, because I get headaches from like perfumes sometimes, and like even like Febreze. And we were talking about it like on our car ride home, and I was like laying down and falling asleep in the car, and I was like, it smells weird down here, because like I had my head on the seat, and they were like, oh, it's probably like the poop that you have, like it's still stuck in your nose. And I was like, well, at least it's not giving me a headache or whatever. And everyone started laughing. They're like, yep, you got that all natural organic organic poop smell. But it's true, like it didn't give me like a headache or anything. And it didn't even linger. I told my friend, I was like, no, it's your feet, because you took your shoes off, like it smells like feet. But yeah, you gotta get used to the smell too, because you're just in the room for so long, and you're cleaning up the patient, and if you have like if it goes anywhere in the room, then you're cleaning that up too. And I guess just always keep in mind, especially knowing the situation that your patient is, I guess if you just realize and recognize that hey, like this could happen, I could have to deal with poop today because this patient has XYZ diagnosis or like whatever. Just I feel like also being mentally prepared helps. So yeah, because obviously if you don't expect it, then it's like, oh, it's very. But it was funny because for my experience for the first time, when the actual nurse walked in, she was like so nonchalant. She was like, she walked in like she'd seen it, something like, you know, the situation we were in like a million times, and I was like, you know what, that's gonna be me one day. You know, it is. So yeah, I mean, I hope that this was helpful. You'll be fine. I know that people are so worried about it, but honestly, when you're in the moment, I genuinely think that you'll be fine. And it's not as bad as you think it is. Like I said, you've got gloves, and if you get it on you by chance, like, I'm sure that there's a pair of scrubs somewhere in the hospital that you can borrow. So you'll be fine. Like I said, just grab your best poker face. Just remember that the patient, it sucks for them too, and you'll be fine. So I hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.